Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a look again at the forex market. So today we mostly will talk about the Japanese yen, just because this is major news maker in recent few sessions. So yesterday already I have mentioned briefly what has happened in Japan. Today we will take a look a bit more in-depth view on the current situation. But first, just a couple of words concerning euro currency. So as you can see, on euro currency market extremely choppy and mostly stands in decision. It comes maybe because of the drying of some liquidity, so many traders right now do not take any activity on the market. Markets become thinner and as you understand, more volatile. It's just because it's just enough to make more or less significant trade, and markets immediately changing the direction. As you can see what the choppy action stands in the recent few sessions. So patterns that were formed here previously, first of all is grubber, some other patterns, well, although they have led to some reaction of the market. So if you remember, we talked about the confidence resistance here, suggesting that downward action should start, and every time actually market responds to significant levels to the patterns, but none of them have become the point where the major action really has started. And market was forming just some minor reaction, tactical reaction, and then just returned to some whipsaw action that we see currently. In such circumstances, especially when we do not have any new clear patterns right now, it makes sense to sit in the hands and see what will happen, because this of course not the way how normally bearish market should perform. So this is correct action, so that indeed should happen. This also, and then it should be some straightforward action, but we have the sideways choppy action, which is not quite bearish. I am making discount, as I said, on just pre-holidays situation. Maybe this is the reason, but anyway, when you see this performance, you intend to take the short position. Better to not be too hurry up with the decision making and just see what will happen. Besides, this is just a couple of days before the Christmas, and well, definitely it's not worth it to take some additional risk and hold it through the holidays. That's what about the euro currency. So here we just need to see and what will happen. But now we're turning to the Japanese yen, which is actually has made the day yesterday and actually on Monday as well. If you remember what I said yesterday, the problem in the Japan, we have talked about this in our weekly report when we discussed the cold market, one of the weekly reports. We also put this good information in the Telegram channel concerning the situation in the Japan. So the problem of the Japan that it has not started and doesn't interrupt the quantitative easing. So when other central banks stopped money printing, Japan just keep going. And a few days ago we warned this talk that we talked about this, the Japanese yen, it was probably a couple of months ago, and we said that it's sooner rather than later will lead to the tragedy. And on Monday it was the breakout of the important level that Japan government was holding for a long time. This is yields for the 10-year government bonds was held at artificially around the 0.25%, and it has jumped to the 0.42. So it's almost double increasing of the in yield of the government bonds, and that immediately has triggered the margin calls, and that correspondingly, since traders have to close the positions, get the money to close the gaps, liquidity gaps that they have got. So they need money, they need the yens, and they will start buying the yens on the market. That has led to drop and on the Japanese yen. The drop, I mean, in direction in the chart. means strength of the Japanese yen. And here is how it looks like. So starting from the monthly chart, here we have the same pattern that's on other markets, dollar, euro, gold market, and so on. And from technical point of view, this is absolutely perfect picture. So probably, guys, those of you who are following us for a long time, you probably remember what we talked about the Japanese yen. There's not sufficient chart history, but in general, if you remember, we have started right from this butterfly initially. Then we talked about the hand and shoulders pattern right there. And now this hand and shoulders pattern is completed. Market hits the historical ABCD OP, this monthly OP, and shows the proper reaction retracement on the OP target. This retracement gives us the perfect bread and butter buy situation. So straightforward downward action right to the 30%, 133 level, and monthly oversold. So this is definitely not the point where you need to buy the yen. When I'm talking buying or selling, I mean in the direction of the chart, because as you understand, this is weakness. So here is actually selling of the yen, and that is strength. So this is buying of the yen. But I'm speaking in the opposite direction, just to not confuse you with chart direction. So this is definitely not the point where you would like to take into short position. It's just because market stands at the oversold and a strong support area. And this is bread and butter combination. Also take a look, MACD is coming to the crossing. And I will be really happy if we will get here the monthly grubber. Mostly the same as on the euro currency. So on the weekly chart, one of the patterns that might be formed here, and actually this also could keep an eye on, is a possible head and shoulders. Almost the same as on the euro currency as well. If you remember, the euro currency also have hand and shoulders on the gold market, but it's reverse. So, and the bread and butter that we're talking about supposedly should be the background for a forming of the right arm here. So we expect that it might be a bit higher. It's just because minimum target of the bread and butter, so it will be 618 resistance of the whole downward action. But we will see. We will not complain if it will be even slightly smaller. So that's initial background for a long-term trade. Here's major monthly support. On the weekly chart, yen is also oversold. So we have the oversold on the weekly, on the monthly. Weekly trend stands bearish. That's obvious. But trend currently is not very important because we have the directional pattern on the monthly chart. So here's might be formed the hand and shoulders. On the daily chart, you could see that's recent sell-off as Bank of Japan has raised interest rates to the 0.5%. Once the bond yield have made the breakout, they just have changed the rate, and that's okay. So market here is complete the OP. At the same time, this drop was very strong, and I wouldn't exclude that market could keep going low, slightly lower. So let's take a look. In this case, we could get this one OP. So right from the top, it's around 128 level right there. We will see what will happen. So depending on how market will behave on lower time frames, it will become clear whether it's going to this new OP or not. But currently market hits the target. You can see it's also stands oversold. It tells you that it's not good point for taking the new short position. And now we're going to the most interesting thing. Take a look what's happening on the 4-hour time frame chart. It's very accurate geometrical patterns that market is forming. So it has turned to some downside channel right there. You can see on this after initial collapse has happened. And take a look what market does. So reaction here, downside action equals 1618 of this upward action. So if you will calculate this extension, you will see also that market stands at 1618 right there, almost 1618. On the back way, it is retesting these previous lows, showing sideways consolidation. Now it drops back to the 1618 once again. So here's how performance stands. We need to keep an eye on the breaking of this pattern. And one sign of this breaking might be if market break this resistance. So it will just move above it. That's the first point that we need to keep an eye on. If it will not happen, market will just start making the same price action like there, flirting around this resistance, touching the channel, and keep going lower, it means that market will go lower to the next target as we discussed on the daily chart. If still upward action will happen, break out back faster, that might be the sign that market starts reaction on the monthly support. In this case, we need to keep an eye on the patterns. Most obvious pattern that might be formed, you probably could understand it by yourself, or recognize by yourself. And so, of course, head and shoulders, because we have the 1618 extension. Unfortunately, we don't have the butterfly this time, because this top is greater than this one. But that might be shoulder, head, another shoulder to form. In this case, by the way, the same line now it will be as a support. And in this case, we will be able to think about and consider taking the long position. But right now, although preparation on the higher time frames mostly done and market stands at very strong support area, it is not sufficient context for taking the long position right now. So but a few things that we need to keep an eye on the Japanese yen, and I don't think that it will last for too long. We will get some solution for this riddle. And finally, as I said, in the current overall taking a look performance, I don't think that is a good idea for taking the short position. So it seems that in the nearest few sessions, most activity will be on the Japanese yen. That is obvious just because Japanese are not celebrating their Christmas. So that's why they are keep trading while we're just preparing for the holidays. So that, guys, information that I would like to share with you today. Hopefully it will be useful. Let's see how it will go.